Hi, welcome to the small shed and sadly the end of an era. See you in a minute. Now I've just come back from the Worcester Resource Exchange, which is like a scrap store that we had, which is on its last day unfortunately today, so it's closing down. We've lost what was, to me certainly, and my wife and a lot of other people in the area, a huge resource for getting all sorts of things from school stuff, paints, fabrics, right through the do-it-yourself stuff, timber and all sorts of things like that, that were essentially recycled or repurposed, or stuff that was left over from ends of runs in factories and things like that. And as I say, sadly it's closing down today, so I can only wish the staff who've been made redundant all the best, and I'm sure they will find something. They've taken details from us all so that if they do get a chance to resurrect it, they will. Some of the reasons for it closing were down to the building itself that they were in. They are supported by a charity, so there is some sort of chance that it may well come back in some other form in the future, but at the moment it's a loss, I'm afraid, which is a shame. And it's a shame for the shed, because there is so much of that place now incorporated into the shed. I've got a bag full of bits and pieces I'll just have a look at. But more importantly, I thought it was also worth just looking back at some of the things that we've got in here, have a quick look around the shed and indeed in the garage, and see the sort of things that we were getting and what we've done with them. So to start with, and perhaps the most useful thing of everything that we've had, I think, are these boxes that were watch boxes that they've been. I used to get probably a dozen of them for £4 or £5, and they appear in a whole load of places in the shed. I've got loads of stuff stored in units, Forstner bits, drills, all sorts of things. They're also up in here, and we'll find a load more in the garage. So that is, if you like, the bedrock of a lot of the things that we've done in here. There's also, you only have to look in here, the sharpening station I built, which is in a perspex tray that we got 2 of those, and indeed the books that have become the standard way of life for my dealing with projects. For different projects, each one has a book. They've all come from that place, 10p a time. There's a stock more left at the back that I can still get at, so we've still got some there. There's a sheet there of white sticky back plastic that I forget what I was going to use it for, and it's been hanging around the shed a long while now, but again I suspect it will come in use in the Austin 7 race car as the big white numbers that you background for the numbers that you put on the cars. What else have we got? If we move up into the roof, I've still got tons of the wood that they had, I think, from kitchen fitting or kitchen making people. I've tried to find who they get it from, but they're a bit cagey because they may well want to come back and resurrect their business again. So, but there's a whole load of stuff up there that used to cost pence. You know, pieces of wood for 50p and 40p, tulip wood essentially, but I did get some hardwood at various times, and I think I got a couple of bits of walnut once upon a time, so they've all come from there. And if I go back to the wall there where the sticker wall is, that sheet of clear white opal sheet of plastic was something I got from there for about £4 or £5. So as you can see, most of the stuff in here has got some sort of connection with it. The let's get this, the push stick I made, that was some of the walnut I think I got from the scrap store that was made with. Moving into the garage, same story. We've got these boxes everywhere that have been essentially the biggest and best thing I've had, but I also got a load of industrial boxes, sort of bins from there, and all of the yellow plastic dividers. Got loads of those as well, so it's been really useful for that sort of thing as well. Still got loads of offcuts of this plastic that's got 2 or 3 layers to it with different colours that you can then etch with the little laser, and that will give you a sort of a permanent engraved surface. Great for switches and things like that. Had loads and loads of lenses at one stage. I don't know where I've put them at the moment, but I used to get a bin full of what were essentially reject lenses, I think, from a glasses manufacturer. So there's all sorts of useful tat that I used to buy and then find a reason to do something with it. And some years ago I put my granddad's medals into a frame. Again, that timber came from the scrap store, and that again was already rebaited and done ready so that the joints were so easy to do, and it just cost pence. So let's have a look at what we got today. The last sort of bits we could get. It was essentially only art materials and fabrics that they had, and that was sort of fortuitous for me. Let's see what we got. We've got a load of brushes. They're not very good brushes, these, but I thought they'd be useful for glue spreading more than anything, and probably have to cut the handles off those a bit because they're a bit long. And maybe, I don't know, I might use 1 or 2 of these type for some of my railway modelling, weathering wagons and things. And I got a whole load of pencils. So I've got, I think, 20 pencils. So that will be a useful addition to, because you can never have enough pencils. Also on a whim, and I don't quite know what I'm going to do with them, but that was the problem with the scrap store. You used to buy things because you thought, oh, that would be good for something. I've actually bought some aluminium pencil sharpeners, and I think I've bought 20 of those as well. That's not because I want to sharpen 20 pencils and use one each. It's because I want to try and make something with a pencil sharpener in it, and I'm not sure what yet. I have played in the past with the idea of making like a small shed in resin with a pencil sharpener in it. So I might do that, or I might try and find something we can use them for men in sheds. But again, for 10 pence each or whatever, I thought they would be useful. Got a bit of cotton, and you'll see what that's for in a minute, but I've got 3 rolls of cotton, and the only other thing I could get that would be of use is a whole load of tubes of acrylic paint. Now, I don't usually use much paint in here, and indeed I've very often in the past had to throw it away. But we have a job coming up as probably a build in the shed for one of these spinning wheels that they use at fairs and things like that, with different things on different segments, and I wanted something I could paint different segments with. So we've got like brown paint, black paint, white paint, grey paint, blues, reds, yellows. We should be able to do that and mix up a bit of orange if we want to. So that's for that. So that is earmarked for a project in the future. We'll come back to that another day. And then perhaps of most value, or the best deal if you like, was some fabric. I've got 2 lots, and I want these for, or I want one of these for the seats, or the seat in my Austin 7 replica racer thing. And that's again what the cotton is for. That's to go with that, that's to go with that. And I got them both because I couldn't quite decide what, I still haven't decided on the colour that I'm going to do the car. It's going to be green, but I've got 2 options because the 2 cars that I'm copying they're slightly different in colour. One is far more green towards olive than the other one's a bluey green. I've got some samples that I'm playing with at the moment of colour, and effectively that is the colour that Hetty the three-wheeler is, and that would suit quite well with that. But I am drawn more, and I know it's not quite prototypical, the metallic British racing green type colour. I forget what they call it. It's Brooklands green, I think, that one. And I'm quite taken with that one. It's a Rover colour. It's got a little bit more blue in it, and it is quite close to one of the pair. They are sort of a bit like that in terms of their colour differences. So I think I'm going to be going down that route. I'm not 100% certain yet, but I've got that as a backup if not. But that will hopefully upholster the seat for me. And the beauty of the scrap store is that this whole lot, pencils, pencil sharpeners, paints, brushes, fabric, cottons, all the other stuff, cost about £10, so it was pretty much of a bargain. So there we are, I'm fully stocked up with pencils for another week. I've got enough stuff to do a couple more projects that weren't being planned before, like the pencil sharpeners and a bit of upholstery perhaps on the car, but on the whole it's been a bit of a sad day really. It is a shame when something that's a community resource that is doing good by using up waste ceases to trade effectively, but such is the way of the world. Hopefully they will be back in the future. They may have one or two more sales, but they won't be at their premises. There is other stuff to clear out, and I'm not quite sure how they're going to deal with that, but there is a possibility. And as I mentioned earlier, there is always just in the background that chance that they might well get it resurrected, but in this current climate I suspect that may be a bit of a wishful thought. So a bit of a bittersweet day. We've got some things for projects, but unfortunately it'll be the last time we'll be getting anything from there. So hope it was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next week. We'll hopefully be building something with some of these things. Look forward to seeing you then. Bye.